Hello, everybody. A quick I always say quick, but they never end up being quick. But one last update here before the campaign comes to a close. I did some factory visits today, so I got some pictures and things to share. I want to give some final decisions about these camel wool blankets that we're going to be making, and also a little bit of an intro or a recap about Backerkit and what's going to happen after the campaign ends. So first, some factory visits. So today I went to the spinning facility where they will make the blankets, and we have our camel wool there. I was hoping our cashmere would get delivered too, but not quite yet. For that, I have some pictures. So this is what about 500 kilograms of ready-to-spin camel wool looks like. So it's maybe not that glorious, but that's pretty much what it looks like. Comes in these huge sacks, and then as always, I'm very happy with the quality of the camel wool. So everything is good there. And maybe more important for the factory trip was to talk a bit more about the blankets and what's possible and what's not possible there. So after the last update, I added a reward on Kickstarter for the camel wool blankets, and I limited it to 50 pieces. That was originally about how many we would make. At least that's what I thought, and also where about the batch minimums are. And the issue, I guess, with Kickstarter is I want everybody to be able to add a blanket that wants one in Backerkit. And a little bit difficult for me to get an idea of exactly what the demand is going to be. I probably should have thought this through a bit more and put a poll on the last update like I thought I would, but these turned out to be a little bit more popular than I thought. So, I still don't know exactly how many are going to be added on in Backerkit. I have a soft limit of about 200. We could probably go to 250 or 300 if needed. But I don't think we're going to sell that many. I don't think that many are going to be ordered. But I talked to the factory today, and they can do as many. It's just the issue is I don't want these to delay the export of the yarn. So I'm going to go ahead and just make as many of these as we can. So I'm going to put a rather high limit on these in Backerkit. And also in the final emails I'll send out for the campaign, I'm also going to mention them. But there are a couple of things, a couple of ways that I could kind of mediate things if things don't quite go to plan as far as the scheduling goes, or if the numbers get quite large. First, the plan for these is to have all the pinstripes in all of the colors of the yarns that we made this year. Cashmere is practically done, ready to spin. Yak wool is close. Camel wool is close. We got to dye stuff as well. But the camel wool is there. We're going to need the most of that, and that's ready to spin. I just need to know the exact counts, which I'll get by the middle of August through Backerkit. Right now, we're still waiting to get the sheep wool washed, dehaired. So the sheep wool is going to be last. If the sheep wool ends up taking way longer than expected, it's possible that we don't have the stripes of the sheep wool in the blanket. If it gets down to it and the sheep wool is going to be a month late, 2 months late, because the thing is for these blankets is we need to wait until all the yarn is finished. Well, all the yarn is spun before we can make the blankets. If we're waiting on one color or one fiber, in this case with the sheep wool, it's possible that we end up doing the design without that color or without the sheep wool. Do I think this is going to happen? No, I think we'll be good, but it gives me a little bit of room to make sure that we don't end up delaying the entire project just for these blankets. The second one is if the number gets too big, I'm going to split the production among production facilities. So I think if we start to get much above 150, maybe 125, we'll split them between different production facilities. So that will also cut down on the lead time for things to make sure that things don't get delayed. If things really hit the fan and for whatever reason it's the blankets in particular that are going to be holding us back, I'll export without the blankets, or without some of them at least, and send it as another shipment whenever they're finished. Because international shipping from America is so much more expensive, I would probably do the blankets in the international shipments, and then the for the customers in America, the domestic shipments, I would just do a separate shipment whenever they would get in, whether that would be a couple of weeks later or a month later or whatever. That would kind of be the last resort for me. I really don't like splitting imports and exports and things like that. It gets a lot more expensive, the paperwork, everything like that, it makes things more complicated. So that's a little bit of a last resort. But at least I have some control here if things don't go completely according to plan. So that's the idea. But as far as everything else with the blankets go, we're good. The design is good. The finishing is good. That was one thing we were talking about is brushed versus unbrushed with the blankets. And I went to the factory today and they had samples of brushed and unbrushed blankets. The unbrushed are, maybe they're missing a little bit of softness, but it's really not that much. And I kind of like it in general. The only thing is without the brushing, there are fewer limits on what you can do with the tassels at the end. So we're just gonna have a fringe, I guess for like the tassels, that needs to be part of the brushing process. And then there's also, if they're hand tied, that's also kind of handwork as well too. That could take a lot of time. So we're not gonna be doing that either. So 150 by 200 centimeters, it's gonna be about a kilogram of fiber. They actually had a camel wool throw made of the same thickness yarn we're gonna have, and that was 210 by 150, and it was just a bit over a kilogram. It was like a kilogram, it was like 1,085 grams. So I think everything is still right on with that. So yeah, I'll show a couple of pictures. You can get a little bit more of an idea of what the fabric is gonna look like up close. These aren't glorious pictures. Factory lighting is notoriously difficult to take good photos. So please keep that in mind, but it's just a little bit of an idea for what the fringe is gonna look like and a little bit of an idea of the thickness that you're gonna get in the blankets. And yeah, even they said it's like the baby camel wool that we have is very good quality. It's not gonna cause any issues with the blankets. Sometimes if you have a lot of guard hair or something, that also takes a long time because they have to go through and kind of pick out all the extra guard hairs that didn't get out. But we're in good shape. Good fiber length and everything too. So no worries there. So I'm excited about it. I'm slightly concerned it's going to get a little bit tight at the end of things, but we got enough wiggle room to where we can still make a really cool project and an incredible product that I think everybody's going to be really happy with. So that's that. Factory visits. Oh, and then so, yeah, I showed at the spinning facility, I showed the pictures of the fiber. And then afterwards, I went to the dehairing facility where they're doing the yak wool. And you could kind of see a bit, I took some different videos. At the end, you could see the very fine, clean yak wool without any guard hair or dirt in it. And then there's also some pictures of, and after it separates, you get these two different piles of waste. One is just like dirt and very small hairs that cannot go into making yarn. They're too short to kind of hold together. So there's like a pile of this very short hair and dirt, and you could see it going through it. I'll be either adding the pictures or the videos here while I'm talking over it. And then you also have these huge bags left over of the guard hair. And it's just like very thick hair that we don't want in our final yarn. So those are the two kind of waste products that you get for that. But depending on what it is, it can go into, it either gets exported, goes down to China, or it can be made into things like pillow stuffing or the inserts for sleeping bags or not down coats, but coats, fillings, and things like that. At least the short hair, the waste, after it gets cleaned a little bit more and there's less dirt. So it doesn't just get thrown away, but yeah, it's really difficult to work with at that point. So very specific use cases, and there's not a lot for it in Mongolia. So usually it'll get exported down south to China, and things will be made from it from there. I wanted to get videos of washing at another facility, but it was supposed to start today. It's starting tomorrow. I wanted to get this update out. So I'll either wait until they're dehairing our tan cashmere, and hopefully they have washing going at the same time, and I could kind of get two birds with one stone. Otherwise, I'll just visit there some other time and get some pictures and videos of the washing. I haven't seen the washing myself in a couple of years, so I'd like to get some more pictures and videos for that. Other than that, yeah, just kind of down to the last 48 hours of the campaign. So as a little bit of a look ahead here into what happens after the campaign ends. So the campaign will close, and then for 2 weeks, nothing is going to happen. So after the campaign closes, your cards will get charged on Backerkit for whatever reward you made. In 2 weeks, I'll open Backerkit. At this time, you're going to get an email, get your invitation to Backerkit, and you'll log into your account there. It'll already be set up. You'll log into your account, and then it'll just be a bunch of steps of clicking through, a lot of clicking next. But that's where you'll pick your yarn colors and weights. So if you have a cone, it's going to be fingering or DK in whichever natural color it is, so not many choices. If you have a package, so a 400 gram pack, 800 gram pack, you will go and you will select for each of your skeins your color and then the weight that you want for it. After you select your yarns and your colors and weights for whichever reward you selected on Kickstarter, you'll be able to add on extra packages. So the same items that we have in Kickstarter, in Backerkit, you'll be able to add on there for the same prices, and it's a very similar process as far as selecting your colors and weights and everything like that. And that's also where you'll see the blankets if you want to add one on there. Later, it's probably going to be sometime in October where all of your orders will finally be locked on Backerkit. So you'll have plenty of time to go into Backerkit and choose your weights and also make changes to your order if you'd like. I would like to say that it's very important for me if you kind of do get to your survey soon enough. You can always change it later. But for me, I need to get a very good idea of what my actual production numbers are going to be. So between DK weight, fingering weight, but especially the colors, so that I can figure out what my exact batches and sizes are going to be for dyeing. So then I can start dyeing colors and I can get my final yarn order into the spinning facility. So you'll always be able to change your survey later. Well, not always, until about October, and I'll give plenty of notice when we're going to lock orders, and I'll charge your cards for the final add-ons that you do or don't make. But that will be sometime early, mid-ish October, most likely, maybe a bit later. But if you could still get your survey in as soon as possible, I would much appreciate it, especially this year with the later campaign start time. So it's like I'm already a little bit behind as far as that goes. So the sooner that I can get a very good idea of what our final numbers can be, that's better for me. But yeah, I think that's about Backerkit in a nutshell. So if you don't want to add on any more items, there will be no more charges to your cards. And then if you ever want to if you move, you change your address, Backerkit is also where you'll go to change that information to make everything easier. For those that haven't used it before, it might seem a little bit confusing or weird. I promise it's very easy. If you got through Kickstarter okay, Backerkit is substantially easier and more straightforward. It's much more similar to a traditional e-commerce site. Kickstarter's a bit weird. Backerkit, a lot more straightforward. So I'll keep you updated. I'll send you guys emails. But I do have to wait 2 weeks after the campaign to open Backerkit. That's about how long it takes for all of the card charges to finalize on Kickstarter, for me to get those funds, and then for the final information to get transferred over to Backerkit, to where you can be invited there and kind of continue the process. So August 14th, maybe 15th, is when those invites will finally go out, and then it'll be picking more yarn and choosing all your weights and colors from there, which is always another kind of fun and exciting process, and also a bit difficult. But okay, I think that's about it. I'm gonna get the rest of this video together with the editing, send out the final updates, and also send out some emails to the email list that I have to invite people as kind of a last chance to get in on the campaign. As always, questions, comments, concerns, leave me a comment, write an email, and I'll get back to you. But thank you guys for an incredible campaign so far. It's going to start to get busy. The next month and a half, there's going to be a lot happening. So I look forward to that. Thank you.